Oh, that's awesome.
This one's big enough, right?
No.
Right. Yes is the correct answer. There's no other answer. All right. So we got our volunteer. It's kind of like the classroom when the teacher calls on you and you don't want to answer. Here you just get pulled out by your tail. Now what we are going to go ahead and first do is go ahead and jump on this guy's back. You guys may be wondering why we do this. I do ask myself the exact same question every morning. Why am I doing this? Alright, so we're going to go ahead. When we jump on his back, it's very important to land in the safety area. That's the spot located behind his head, not out in front of it, not to the sides. If I overshoot that safety area, I will get bit. I know a lot of you will be amused by that.
Yep.
So we're going to go ahead, grab his tail here, give a nice tug between the legs. We're going to jump on his back. If this goes according to plan, I should end up on his back. If it doesn't, he's going to end up on mine. Wonderful. I see some of you have your cameras waiting. This is just great. Alright, so make sure his head's facing you guys. You guys' one job is to tell me if those three move. Okay? Okay. You can't fail at your job. Because then there might be an opening at Reptile Gardens. Alright, so.
Yeah.
Alright. Sleep, 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 sleep. No. Stop, stop, please. Alright. That wasn't too bad. Scooch back over this way. Scooch. Scooch. Nope. Scooch. 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 We're getting there. Alright. Okay. Now everybody can see it. Okay. First thing we're going to do, put our knees in the alligator's armpits. Turn our feet inward behind his hind legs. Doing this helps restrict his movement, stops him from twisting and rolling under us. Next thing we did go ahead and do is cover up his eyes. Covering the eyes of the alligator does seem to relax them. We're not sure exactly why. We have been told covering their eyes kind of makes it really dark and they think they're dead. So, did I wonder what happens if you cover up just one eye? Is he half dead? No. The answer is no. Alright, we're going to go ahead and see if he'll show you one of his adaptations he's got inside of his mouth here. Alright. Now you're going to notice on him, or any of the other ones you ever see of them sitting with their mouths open, you cannot see down the alligator's throat. This is because the back of the tongue acts like a valve, allows these guys to open their mouth underwater without taking in water. So the only way you will ever see down an alligator's throat is if you ever catch him yawning or if you happen to be on the way down it. Don't laugh at that, that's not funny. Alright, so now we've shown you how to hold his mouth open. We're going to go ahead, I'll show you how to close it. So we're going to go ahead, place our hands on the alligator's neck, slowly slide our hands forward, forcing those jaws shut as we go along. It's very important to take your time with this process. You don't want to slip, mess it up, get your fingers wedged in there. I've heard that it hurts very badly. You guys can ask Kyle if you want to. Alright, so we're going to go ahead and grab his jaws way back here, force them shut, slide those hands forward, and then rock back with his head. Now holding his head, he's a strong one. Holding his head, actually in that position, helps prevent the alligator from backing out from under us. Because if he did do that, he would then go ahead and sit on my back and show off you guys how to hold my mouth shut. Now, see, I know you guys are always rooting for the alligator. Now also, if we ever need to move these guys for any reason or look at them because they have an injury or medical purposes, we can go ahead and hold their mouth shut just like this. Have someone else come around the front and actually tape it shut, so then we're not worried about getting bit while we're going ahead and moving them. So that will be how you hold an alligator's mouth shut if you guys ever get in the mood and you want to do it yourself. Now you know how. He doesn't want to sleep. This one's definitely not dead. Alright. Stop, please, please. Alright. Now these guys are going to be amphibious reptiles. They're not an amphibian like a frog, toad, or a salamander, but they do spend a great deal of their time in water. Some of that time is even underwater. These guys can hold their breath for up to several hours. And how long they hold their breath is determined by how warm or cold they are. How active they are will determine how quickly they run out of oxygen. And then lastly, some of the other features on their head. Out on the front, they do have nostrils that are equipped with valves that close shut when the alligator submerges. He's also got ears right behind each eye. They're equipped with flaps as well. And then the position of those eyes on the top of the skull is a great hunting adaptation. It does allow these guys to totally hide their body under the water. Just those eyes poking up above the surface. But it does, however, put them in a vulnerable position so they are retractable. Can be pressed flat into the skull where they are protected by a bony ridge. And the last thing you'll notice is when he does open his eyes, they almost seem to roll in their head. Now this is due to a secondary eyelid called the nictitating membrane. Acts like a built-in pair of diving goggles and does allow these guys to go ahead and see underwater. So they're going to be well adapted for aquatic life, but we are going to go ahead and do my favorite part of the show now and go ahead and jump off. So we're going to go ahead and cover up his eyes, look behind us, make sure none of his buddies are sneaking up back there or anything. Then kind of push down, jump off, and run away screaming like a little girl.
Yeah.
If he lets me. Alright, let's give that guy a round of applause.
I'm trying to clap with the camera.
Alright, now on these guys' teeth, you will notice that they're kind of conical in shape. This means they're round and pointed, so they're not exactly built for biting up chunks of food. So if an animal is too large to go ahead and swallow whole, they'll grab a hold of it, shake violently in order to tear it apart in smaller bite-sized pieces. If there are other equally hungry alligators or crocodiles in the area, they'll grab a hold of that creature as well, spin in the water, doing that death roll in order to tear off smaller bite-sized chunks. Now if you did just come out here, throw down a big piece of food for these guys to tear apart on their own, it would not be long before you'd start to see a lot of injuries like you would in the wild. Because they do get a bit careless when they are fed, they don't mind taking part of a buddy's tail off, part of his leg, anything like that. So we are going to go ahead. We do feed these guys small chicken legs. Now you can really feed them any kind of red meat, fish or really waterfowl or anything like that. So these are going to be chicken legs, just like you'd buy at the grocery store. I do believe they might in fact be Tyson brand. But if we came out here and just started throwing down food, it would not be long before they start to associate us with the source of food. You can tell we've got the buffet line lined up all the way around the water. You got those guys coming.
Oh, caiman! Oh, see that caiman?
Very crowded. So I've actually trained them. Come on, buddy. Come on. I've actually trained them to associate this bucket with a sound signal, kind of like a dinner bell, so they know it's time to be fed. So we're going to go ahead and give this bucket a few hits, see if we can get some more of them up here with us. Hopefully not.
Oh, God.
Got a few. Now, because of the position of the eyes on the top of the skull, they're not going to be able to see anything that isn't right above them. So they'll see that meat fly through the air, hear it hit the ground, and go ahead and feel around with that lower jaw in order to locate that piece of food. But then they're going to have to roll their heads to the side because their heads are far too... It's that way. It's that way. Their heads are far too long, necks far too short to simply reach straight down and pick up that piece of food. We'll go ahead and toss them over there for those guys. Let's race. Alright, now do a few more pieces of chicken here. We'll go ahead and see who's hungry in the water. No? You're hungry. Come here. Now because of that valve in the back of the mouth, they're not going to be able to swallow anything below the surface. So they're going to hear that meat hit the water, go down, feel around with that lower jaw once again, then have to roll, bring it back up to the surface where they'll make that chewing motion. It's down there. You missed it. One of you will find it. Alright. Alright, we got one more piece of chicken. Whoa. Did you guys get wet? Okay, don't worry. It's just Gatorade anyway. Alright, we're going to go ahead and see if we can grab this piece back. Alright. Go.
Oh, that's
Alright,
awesome.
I got one more piece. We're going to go ahead and see this crocodile back here. He's looking kind of hungry.
Oh, God.
You coming? You coming? Come on.
Please, would love to do
All right.
that. Mom, I would love to do that.
Thank you. Now, that is the last piece of chicken we do have for these guys. You will notice that we don't feed them all at every show. We do feed out about 8 pieces of chicken. There's approximately 32 animals in here. So, but being a large, cold-blooded reptile, they do have a slower metabolism, so they don't all get hungry at the same time. So it's actually not a big deal for them to go ahead, wait a couple hours for the next show, maybe even a few days or weeks, possibly even a couple months. There's actually a group of Nile crocodiles in Africa that survives on one substantial meal a year. It's with the annual wildebeest migration that passes through. So these guys have no problem going ahead, waiting for the next show in a couple hours. We do have one more surprise, guys. I'm back and are running back. Grab it here real quick. Go ahead and wash my hands.
I want to see one like get up.
I think Lee's smiling up there. They're wishing they were first cut. Yeah.
All right. Aww, I missed you guys too. I know you guys all want Fluffy. Now this guy right here, his little name is Fluffy. He's a 2-year-old American alligator. He's just like all the alligators in here, but he is younger, smaller, much more manageable in size. And when these guys are born, they're about 6 to 8 inches in length, about a foot on per year for the first couple of years. Then the mother will protect the young for the first 1 or 2 years. It's even possible she'll protect this year's young from the ones that hatched out last year, because they'll basically come back and try to eat their siblings. So the lesson learned from that is if you have a brother or sister picking on you, just be thankful they're not eating you. What? Put him in the water? We prefer to keep our fluffies alive. These guys would eat him if we put him in there. But he is smaller. We're going to go ahead and actually tape his mouth shut real quick so no one gets bit on accident. Then we'll bring him between the fence line for you guys to go ahead and pet if you want to. You can take pictures, ask questions. Otherwise, that is the end of this show. Next show's at Bird Show starting over here at 2:30. Thank you all for coming out today. Hope you enjoyed the show.
I'm just gonna stay right here and wait.
I'm just gonna come all the way around.
Yeah.
Go stand up there and wait. That's pretty cool, huh?
Yeah.
You're not gonna have anything.
What?
You're not gonna have any numbers.
I don't care.
Then we gotta stand by the fence and they'll bring him around.
Mom, it's too bad for the ones.